Welcome to my review of the Evercross EK30 Pro. Evercross approached me and asked me if I'd like to review it. Basically, back in March last year, 2025, I actually bought the EK30, the original one, second hand, so I could review that. It hadn't done many miles, so it was in good condition. And honestly, the EK30 was a nice bike. It wasn't perfect, and had some curious features, but it was a nice bike. So of course when Evercross asked me, I was more than happy to review this one. Now from memory, the original EK30 was about 700 quid. This one's 810. So the bike came in a pretty standard size box, nicely packaged, well protected. It came mostly built, to be fair. It had to put on the handlebars, the front basket, all four indicators, the front wheel, and the pedals. The indicators were already wired in, you just had to put them through the hole and then connect them up from the other side and tighten them on. So that was nice and simple. The front basket was a bit fiddly. And honestly, the front basket took me quite a while to get on. It was kind of hard balancing the weight and trying to get the screws back in the holes. But once I'd done it, it was pretty easy in the end. Oh, and you had to put on the front and rear mudguards as well. I'm not sure why, but when you get the bike, the back wheel's completely flat, and because it's been kept flat and the weight's been on it, it's kind of warped the tyre a bit. So when you come to pump it back up, the tyre wants to pop itself off the rim all the time. So personally, I prefer if they actually put some air in the tyre so you don't have to mess about doing that sort of stuff. So the bike was built and it was time to test. But before we start on the testing, we'll have a look at the bits. So we have the 20x4 inch flat tyres, and these ones are made by Kenda, and they have the white rim that goes around the entire tyre, which is reflective, which makes it more visible. I do like that. The wheels themselves, I believe, are a one-piece plastic rim. I like them, to be fair. The bike has 180mm brake discs, and we've switched now to hydraulic brakes, which are far better than the old mechanical ones. There's nothing wrong with the old ones, but hydraulic are just better. The bike has a front headlight and a rear light, which is also a brake light. The rear light's built into the plastic bit on the end, which looks really nice, to be honest. The front light is very similar to the original one, but it's actually different. So basically, from memory, the original one had indicators built into the actual headlight itself, and it also had like an Evercross word that just stayed on all the time, so when you turned your bike on it kind of glowed up, which looked really cool. Obviously they've changed the light now because they've put physical indicators on. The pedals are metal, nice and chunky, feel decent quality. The seat's nice and long, leather, looks quality, it's nice and padded, nice and comfortable. It comes with front and rear suspension, and the ride itself is really comfortable. The suspension does its job really well. The bike comes with a front and rear mudguard. The mudguard itself is plastic, I believe. They connect via bolts at the side, and when you put them on, they're really solid, so they're not going anywhere really, and they look really good, to be honest. It has a 7-speed Shimano Tony gear system, which again, cheap, cheerful, they all use it and it works, so why change it? They've also added a front and rear rack to this model, which again, more carrying capacity is always a good thing. Then they've added this little bag, which I actually like the way it looks. It fits in the frame nicely. The bike has an 18Ah battery, which I only got 25 miles from it, but it's freezing at the moment and these things don't perform well on the cold, so I'd expect 30-35 miles from that in the summer. As I said before, they've added indicators to it now, and the indicators stick out, and they're actually really good. A lot of these indicators they put on tend to be very low power bulbs, and they're pretty useless in the day, but these you can actually see in broad daylight, which obviously is the point of them. There's no point in them an indicator if nobody can see it. So yeah, they've done really well with the indicators. A nice powerful bulb in there. Evercross also changed the buttons and the screen. The screen's nice and big, very visible, nice and bright and easy to read. The buttons, again, really good, really nice. And they also have an NFC card, so you basically just touch the card to the buttons, it'll turn on. If you touch it to the buttons again, it'll turn it off. In addition, Evercross have actually fitted an alarm to this bike as well, and they've included 2 fobs for the alarm and 2 NFC cards. So I tested out the alarm and I actually really like it. When you shake it, it gives you a warning first, and then if you shake it again, it sets the alarm off. and the alarm's loud, but it's not like super loud, so it wakes everybody up and like irritates everybody around you. Also, it goes on for a reasonable amount of time, but then turns itself off, and then if you move it again, it sets the alarm off again, so it doesn't turn itself off, it just stops the noise, so it's not going on forever. I'll put a clip in now so you can actually see how the alarm sounds and what it does. So what's the bike actually really like? Well, in honesty, you start off and the cadence sensor's a bit slow to react. It takes a little while to kick in, maybe a turn of the pedals. Once it does kick in though, it gives you a nice amount of power. It's a nice smooth ride. It likes staying at around 15.5 miles an hour. It says 16 on the display though. But yeah, it's really smooth and nice and easy to ride once it's set off. Something I'd not realised until quite a bit into my review was the throttle. Now, normally, I just ignore them to be honest, because what they usually do is they put on a throttle, it'll only do 4 miles an hour, and it's basically a walk assist, so it takes ages to kick in, and there's no torque in it at all. On this though, they've actually made it a 4 mile an hour throttle, so basically when you turn it, it actually sets off instantly. And it's enough to get it started and make it easier for that one rotation of the cadence sensor to kick in, so it's really not hard to set off at all. The thing is, I feel when we buy these kind of bikes, we know that the riding position's never perfect, and it can be awkward to ride, it can be awkward to get power into your actual pedalling because of the seating position. But you don't really buy it for that, you buy it to just cruise around on and to look good, because it does look really good. On the subject of looks, this is a very unique bike. Like, it's clearly made by Evercross. You don't see this shape, this frame, this bike by any other company. It's literally their bike. I have to say as well, it actually looks really nice. I liked the first one, but I think this is better looking. It's more my style of bike anyway. It looks so nice. They've added so many features, and aesthetically it's really good. Now I have to take this opportunity to discuss Evercross as a company. Now, when I look at e-bike companies, I imagine, I don't know, I've never been in one, but when I imagine them, I imagine there's a boardroom where people discuss tyres or suspension or the seat, and they have a pros and cons, and they throw ideas about and they question each other's ideas, and they basically work things out, and it's a very formal occasion. That's what I think anyway. Now with Evercross, I kind of imagine a soft playroom with no tables, just cushioned chairs, and they throw out ideas, and if it sounds good they just whack it on, because that's the way it feels when you get the bike. So now I'm going to go through the reasons why I think the design team don't fully think about what they're doing, they just stick things on and kind of wing it. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, because some of the features that I don't see the logic of are actually really good features. Now I'm going to start with one that I'm really torn on, because it looks really good, but it's not very practical. So basically, either side of the bike on the frame, they've attached this mesh which encloses your battery, and it looks really nice. I really do like it aesthetically. But then there's 6 nuts at each side, so if you want to take your battery off, you're going to have to undo the whole 6 nuts and then slide your battery off, and then go charge it or whatever, put it back on, put the 6 nuts back on. So basically I feel like the options are really either charge the battery on the bike and keep it being good looking, or you remove the mesh completely and you can charge the battery off the bike. So next I want to go to the original Evercross EK30 and the front light. So basically it had indicators either side built into central headlight, and then the Evercross logo that glowed whenever you had the bike on, and it was really nice. And who doesn't need indicators, right? Now the problem with it was they'd only put indicators on the front of the bike, they'd not bothered with the back, so the place we actually need them the most, the back, you didn't have none. So on this bike they basically put on a new front light. It looks similar, but it's not the same. It doesn't have the Evercross logo that glows up, and it doesn't have the indicators built in. It's just a nice big bright light. And then they've added indicators separately, which is really, really good because now you've got them on the front and the back. Now, as I said previously, the bulbs in the indicators are nice and bright as well, so you can see them in the daytime, so there's no issue at all with indicators, except the rear ones. Now, I should state, if this was the original Evercross EK30, there wouldn't be any issue with the indicators, but it's not. So the issue isn't actually the indicators, it's the rear thing that I want to call a rack, but it's not a rack. It can't be a rack because it doesn't work. The problem with it is it's not very long, so I don't know how you put bananas on it. Then you have the fact of the indicators stick out either side of it, so if you did put bananas on it, you'd squash your indicators, which is insane. And then the final problem is, if you put anything on top of it, it blocks your rear light. So I have no idea why that thing is on the back of the bike, because there's no way it works. Now, as a rack itself, if it wasn't for them problems, it feels pretty solid. So I think I'd rather have it on than not on, but I just don't see how you use it. Next we're going to the mud guards. Now, the mud guards are actually really good looking. They look awesome. When I first saw the Evercross EK30, the mud guards were one of the first things that stood out to me. I was like, wow, that looks really good. But they're not super practical. The issue basically is the way they look is really nice, but then there's a gap in the middle of them, which means that that section of the wheel isn't covered, which that's what a mudguard's job is. My next issue is in the bottom of the frame is what appears to be basically a basket, and storage on your bike is really good. I get it, I want it, but then the basket's very open and very exposed, and there's two bits of metal that cover it, but then there's a gap in the top, so basically your tyres flip mud into the basket, which means that anything you put in that basket is going to get covered in dirt. So it's great to have the storage, but then what do you want to put on your bike that you don't mind getting covered in dirt? So it kind of defeats its own object. Now, the front basket I'm actually conflicted on, because it connects to the frame itself, so it's reduced the turning circle on the actual bike. Now, I guess you could connect it to the forks, maybe, but as it is, you get a reduced turning circle, and also sometimes the wires are a bit stiff and they kind of get caught up in the mechanism, so it's a bit stiffer turning sometimes. I mean, I definitely prefer to keep the front basket on because all storage is good, right? And it's not a huge issue, like you don't really notice it overly when you ride, and it's just when you're trying to do a sharp turn or you're trying to turn your bike round and do it like manually, it's a bit awkward. Now, if that did bother you and you didn't like the reduced turn circle, you could just not put the front basket on and then boom, no issue at all, is there? But I prefer it on. Now, the next one is probably the biggest one that I don't like, and it's the seat. The seat's really nice, really comfortable, and they've got a plastic bit behind it which is really good looking, and it's got the light built in. In addition, they've actually added foldable foot pegs, so you can carry a passenger now and they've got somewhere to put the feet, which is nice. The problem is I'm 5'9", my natural seating position pushes me all the way to the back of the seat, and my bum kind of rests on the corner of that plastic thing, and it digs in and it hurts after time. It actually really hurts, and that kind of ruins the bike for me because I can't really take it anywhere far because it actually hurts. Now, my brother-in-law is about 5'4"-ish, he don't have the issue at all, he sits nice and comfortably on it and he's never had that problem at all. So I'm not sure what the exact height is where it's a problem, but for me it is. Now, what I'd like to see is them change the seat design itself so the black plastic bit is higher and the kind of seat rolls up it so it's like a stopper at the same time. That'd fix the problem completely. It'd still look really good and unique, and it'd be awesome. The other thing I'd love to see if they make another one is the rear storage section that gets all the dirt in it. Extend these metal bits so the dirt can't get in there, and then build a custom bag that fits perfectly in that space, which would be awesome. It'd cost a bit more, but it's very hard to get bags to fit in custom spaces because they're not made for specific bikes. So if Evercross made their own, that'd be really good. As far as the rear rack goes, I'd extend it a bit and make it so it can actually have bananas fitted to it. I'd redesign the indicators so they fit within the width of it so they're not sticking out. and I'd also moved the rear light from the black plastic bit to underneath, so it still functions. The front rack, I'd like to see that connected to the forks itself, so it turns with the bike, and that way it shouldn't affect your wiring and your turning circle. Now I know it sounds like I'm moaning, and I am, but I do feel that with a little bit more design this could have been even better than it is. I mean, the issue I have is there's nothing on this bike that I'd take off and like, I don't want that, I'm glad they put everything on. It's just some of the things are impractical. Now that leads me to the question of how do they build this bike at the price it's at? And the answer is, I have no idea. They've basically added 100 quid onto the price of the original bike and like 200 quid's worth of extras. Like, it makes no mathematical sense how they've made all this bike for the price they've made it at. It's insane. And then you had my discount code, noob-ebike-guy, and that drops it to 770 quid, which is ridiculous. Like, how they made this bike for 770 and they're still making a profit, I really don't know. So ultimately, despite my little moans and the little niggly bits with the bike, it's a really, really good price. It's a great bike, it's unique. In fact, nobody else makes this kind of bike, so it looks completely unique. People stop you on it and they're like, well, I thought it was a motorbike, like, and they're really impressed by how it looks. It's just a really good bike. It's also got a good amount of torque as well, so it's really good on hills. And it's really well made. Like, I genuinely don't think you can go wrong at 770 quid. Like, you just can't. You're not going to get a unique bike like this anywhere else for that price. So I highly recommend this bike. I love the original one. This one's even better. And I don't see any reason why you wouldn't want to buy one. It's really, really nice. So yeah, definitely a bike I'd recommend. So, if you got this far, thank you for watching. Any questions, comments, put them in the comments and I'll get back to you. If you like the content I'm making, please do like, share and subscribe. It really, really does help. And I'll see you in the next video.